Welcome back to another season of the podcast, our sixth season. I'm Dr. Krista Vernaleken.
And I'm Dr. Leash Renzullo. We are very excited about kicking off the season with cats. We're going to be discussing a trend that's been growing in popularity among cat owners, which is leash training your indoor cat to safely go outside with you.
We are joined by an Instagram famous adventure cat, Starlord, and his mom, Christina, to tell us about their experiences and adventures. Christina is a veterinary assistant at Capital District Veterinary Referral Hospital, which is in Latham, New York. Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you so much for
Christina.
having me.
Oh, yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your role at Capital District?
Yeah, so I started working there about 3 years ago. I'm currently a veterinary assistant, and I'm working towards my technician license. So I'm in school right now, and hopefully I'll get that soon so I can continue on that journey there.
So, how did you and Starlord meet in your lives?
Starlord came into the clinic a few months after I started, actually, and he had a bunch of porcupine quills in his face.
Oh, no.
Someone had found him on the side of the road. He was a stray cat. They brought him into us, when we take in injured strays. So, of course, we took him in. We removed all of the quills, and he was hospitalized for a bit. While he recovered from that, he had some upper respiratory stuff going on too. And then I fell in love with him while he was there. And I had to take him home with me.
How old was
now,
he when you got him?
Yeah, I was going to say, was he a kitten or was he like an adult cat when you found him?
He was not a kitten. We were thinking he was about 1 year, maybe. So he was younger. But it was great. And he got his name because we always have name themes for when the stray cats come in. And it was a superhero theme. So he was named after Peter Quill from Guardians of the Galaxy because of the quills. So he was Starlord. So it was a fun little play on words there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Now, had you had cats before him or was he like your first cat?
I've had cats before. I grew up with them. And then when he came in, I had already had two. So he was the third one coming in.
Nice.
So is he the first cat that you've done this outdoor adventures with?
He is. Growing up, I kind of always had, my parents would have indoor outdoor cats. But as I got older and I saw all of the risks and everything, I wanted to keep all of mine indoors. But he was always so curious. So I wanted to find a way that made me comfortable and also kind of satisfied his need to explore and all of that. So
how did you get started on it? Because I feel like we do see at the vet hospital, every now and then cats that will come in harnesses and on leashes. And it obviously is a little bit different than the norm, in the cat carriers. So how did you get him kind of used to it? And did he enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I got pretty lucky with him. He's pretty easy. He's a very chill cat. He kind of just goes with whatever is happening. So I brought one home and I tried it on him just to see if, that was something that we could try. And he was like, okay, cool, sounds good. He liked it at first. We started off small. We kind of started, he walked around in the living room with it, making sure he was comfortable. Then I would take him out, on my deck, just, to see if he was still happy with it. And then we started to go a little bit further and he took right to it. So it was a pretty easy train, honestly.
So you have to tell us about what kind of harnesses you use, because I'll tell you the story that I had a cat. Actually, it was an orange cat who, moved to a house and I had a nice yard, and he used to go out on the little deck we had in our apartment. So I thought, oh, this will be great. So he had his little harness, which I didn't think that he could ever get out of it. He never got out of it in the house. And then I'm doing gardening with him outside on a, long lead with a stake on his harness. And all of a sudden he's sitting next to me purring like and he had just weaseled right out of that harness. So tell us about not having that happen.
Yeah, they're little escape artists, so it's tough finding the right one. We went through a few to see what he was more comfortable with, and actually brought a few.
Let's see.
This one is his favorite. It's an igloo harness. I just got it off Amazon. But it has like the comfortable mesh chest. It has the clips that you can tie in that go around kind of his underside. He fits in it really well, and it's really tough for him to kind of wiggle out of it. So this was our favorite. We tried a few that were kind of like the Velcro on the bottom. Yeah. So this one's nice too. It's more of like a vest rather than a harness, but it's a little constricting, for him moving and all of that. We went through a few. We went through
Mhm.
some that only had the Velcro, and that just made me a little bit nervous,
Yeah.
as far as, him rubbing it on something or being able to take that. So it's like trial and error, but he hasn't
And are you
escaped
trying
yet. So
dog harnesses, or are they actually harnesses labeled for cats?
a bit of both. Some for cats, yeah. Some I'll just do like an extra small dog harness. Very, very similar. There's
Mhm.
really not much, aside from when you get into like customized and personalized ones and all of that. But
Oh no, mine was definitely a cat harness, and it
yeah.
definitely was like a
Maybe it was
figure
not
eight.
fitted right,
It
fitted
was fitted.
appropriately.
I don't know.
Wait, so are your other cats, so you said you had 2 cats at home already. You
Yep.
bring Starlord into the house and now he is like getting harnessed up and going outside. Are they jealous? Do they want to go outside?
They were jealous. The one I grew up with her, so she was one of the ones that started as an indoor outdoor cat with my parents, and she was always, a tough hunter, and she loved being out there. So she was a little bit jealous seeing him go outside, and she was like, "Well, Mom, why am I stuck inside now? That used to be my thing." So they were, but honestly, the rest of mine, they don't really want to. I've tried it with all of them, and they like, I've tried it with the youngest one I have. I got him last December. Him and Starlord are best buddies. So I was like, oh, it'd be so much fun if they could go out together. He's scared to death. And it's just
Yeah.
not, yeah, it's just not worth, bringing him out there if he's going to be so nervous and all of that. So
It's funny because you do have cats, and I've grown up with cats too as well. I had one that was a barn cat from Vermont, and there was just no way like she was staying in the house. Like it just wasn't going to happen. And this was growing up as a kid. And then I had another cat that I got at the vet hospital that I first started working at when I was a teenager. And this cat had no desire to leave the house. And one time she was just sitting, I had opened the windows in college and she was sitting on the windowsill and the screen popped down and it was just a lower level. So she just only dropped down about like 2 feet. And she was panicking to get back in, like all of her might, like all she wanted to do was get back in the house. So it's funny how some cats really don't have a desire. They're like, I've got it
yeah.
made. I don't want to do this. And other cats really do want to go outside.
Yeah, it's funny how they have such different personalities in that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's partially what they were like, how long they were outside
Right.
as kittens and like what they
Hmm.
were exposed to. Because yeah, most of my cats have never had any desire at all, and like often seem. One of my cats one time walked out. We had guests, and like they left the door open, and he got trapped outside. He wasn't panicked, but he was just like sitting there, like, I'm out here and I don't know what this is, and I want to go back where the food is. Like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny with Starlord once that happened. Someone left my door open. And so, naturally he wandered out, but he went right into the bush right in the front because he's like, well, Mom, you're not here. I don't have my harness on. And
Right,
he didn't
right.
Right.
go, he didn't go anywhere. So it was pretty funny. You
Yeah.
would think that he would want to.
So what does he do when he's outside with you in his harness properly restrained?
Yeah, yeah. So I live on a pretty nice property, lots of woods and lots of land. So we just kind of walk around. He goes to his favorite plant that he loves to visit and, chomp on and all of that. Then we have a pond on the property too. So we'll go down to the pond. He watches the ducks and geese, and that's probably his favorite spot to be.
Does he
Does he
ever
ever
try
try to
to
like
do any
run?
hunting?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, does he try to run after them or go after them or no?
Not them. The only thing that he will ever go after are the chipmunks because they have so many around here and they taunt him. They squeak at him. They know that he's harmless, so he's not going to actually do anything. There's actually once where he was on the harness and I have him on a 30-foot lead. So when he runs, he can take a little bit, make it feel like he can have that freedom. But he actually caught the chipmunk. And I'm holding him on the harness. And now he's like, well, what do I do now? I've never gotten this far before. So
Oh my God.
An exciting day for him.
Did the
very
chipmunk
much
escape
so.
for all of our
He
viewers?
Starlord let him go. He
They
kind of
let him go.
just took him, and he was like, "All right, well, the chase was fun."
Often they do just kind of play with them. It's awful. They're like tormenting them, but they just enjoy this like really fun toy that's very interactive.
Yep, I didn't think he would, or he probably didn't think he would actually get to it. So I think it was all about the excitement of that.
Yeah.
And from a vet perspective, like we see cats all the time. Like we will ask owners when they come in with their cat, one of the first questions is your cat an indoor or an outdoor cat? We would consider, Starlord as mostly an indoor cat, right? Because really he's not being exposed to other cats. And that's the
Mhm.
biggest thing that we're worried about as vets. We're also worried a little bit about external parasites. Do you do something for like fleas or anything with Starlord?
Yeah, he's on his flea and tick preventative.
Mhm.
Of course, I make sure he's updated on all of his vaccines. God forbid anything does happen, he
Right.
does, come into contact with any of
Right.
those animals or anything like that. So definitely preventative measures there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think,
So that's, oh, go
to
ahead.
Krista's point, I was going to say, with the vaccinations, there's sort of different protocols that you do for like an indoor cat versus an outdoor cat. And I agree, that, he would sound mostly indoors, but I don't think it's wrong to vaccinate him as an outdoor cat because he's outside and because sometimes harnesses slip.
Yes,
And
if they slip off, right, right.
yeah,
That's about
so
us like sussing out whether an owner is really like, what are you really doing? So sometimes people say, well, the cat goes outside in the yard with me, not on a harness, right?
Hmm.
And that's a situation where, yes, that cat is very overall sheltered, but like there's always the outside possibility that the cat goes after a chipmunk and, runs off and can't immediately figure out how to get back
right.
home and does interact with other cats or wildlife. Rabies, of course, we would vaccinate all cats for, whether they're indoor or
Hmm.
outdoor. But there's not no chance, even with an indoor cat. Honestly, there are some indoor cats that escape all the time,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
So that cat's probably actually kind of more of an outdoor cat, maybe even more than Starlord, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And, as far as, other things that you do with him, and we know that you take him outside, it's wonderful enrichment for him. He obviously enjoys it. Do you do anything else as far as like training or because I've seen some pretty impressive cats. I actually went to at the TD Garden. This was like maybe 10 years ago. They had the zoo, or the circus, which I know is like controversial, but it was like it was there and I had tickets from my sister-in-law and I went and they had a whole cat segment where these cats were unbelievable with their training and couldn't believe everything they were doing on this huge open stage.
Hmm.
So do you do anything with him because he seems like a cool enough cat that he probably could learn some fun stuff?
Well, the problem with him is that he's a little bit too cool, a little too cool for school. So I did try some things. One of my coworkers, she does agility training with her cat, and they're
Yes.
amazing. So I was watching her videos, and I was like, "Let me try this. Let me see if I can get him going." He just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
I've tried the treat puzzles to see if he can solve those, and he's kind of just like, "I know you'll give the treats to me later, anyways." So
Yes. I got it.
um,
Well, yeah, they're
yeah,
good.
yeah. So
Yeah,
not
that's I
really his
think
thing.
the like saddest thing, not sad, but like we always give no credit to cats for training. And I mean, they can be trained just like any other animal. I don't know how many cats they had to go through, like in terms
But
of choosing those cats for the
yeah.
circus, right? Like, did
Hmm.
they just pick a bunch of cats and be like, okay, you're gonna be the circus cats, or did they have like 100 that they were like, let's try all of these guys, and then whoever makes the cut? But like tigers and lions, they are felines as well. And right,
Yeah.
all of those
Hmm.
circus and zoo animals, even zoo animals, they train them to do certain tasks so that they don't have to sedate them for everything. It's
Right.
pretty fascinating how much you can train. And, we probably should more with the right cat. I agree
I
with you.
know.
Like you'd have to find the right cat. I have one cat that there's no way you could train. And the other one might just be like not interested, like you were mentioning with Starlord.
Yeah, yeah. They're so smart, but they're also so independent
Yeah.
sometimes. So you have to get the good balance for those things.
Now, I know with social media sort of blowing up, this and Instagram is obviously a big one. I'm not a huge Instagrammer. I just recently like linked it to my Facebook because I feel like I do Facebook. Krista doesn't really do either one. But Instagram, I feel like it confuses me regardless about like where to go with. But I did go on to his Instagram page and it is hysterical. Like some of the stuff, that picture you have of him in the full royalty outfit, I do love that one.
Oh yeah,
And just some of the other videos that you have posted of him. So does he have like a big following? Like how does that work?
he does. So his Instagram is Stuntman Starlord. He has about 21,000 followers, so it got pretty big.
That's a
I started
lot.
it. Yeah, I started it when I took him home from work, actually, just so that way, everybody can keep up with him, and that I wasn't spamming my own page with, cat photos. And then I got a little competitive, and it kind of took off. But it's it's so much fun. You meet a lot of great people on there because, it's really just something to take your mind off of everything else going on. Just something, it's a happy place. It's so much fun to do. We have a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Now, what's like the coolest place you think you have taken him thus far? Because I mean, now that he's on the harness and he's mobile, like, do you bring him to like just hang out someplace like where people wouldn't necessarily expect to see a cat?
Not as much as I wish, just because he does get a little bit car sick. So that definitely
Oh, yeah.
is a little bit of a limiting factor for him. We've taken him to PetSmart before. He does, Easter photos and Christmas photos there, which is fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and they always can't believe how, chill he is and relaxed there. His favorite place, I think the coolest place we go to is it's this little island near my house. He gets to go and explore there. You have to cross a little bridge. So he sits on the bridge over the water. We did that the other day. It was gorgeous. So that's probably the
Awesome.
coolest place that he
Mhm.
goes to.
Oh, that's
So what you
awesome.
need to do is hunt for, so Lindsay and I were talking about this. There was a news situation happening in my town. And I was thinking how funny it would be if you walked past, in the background with a non-traditional animal. Like
Mm.
everyone's expecting a dog, but then you trot by with your cat and then you become like viral because everyone's like, look at what's happening here. There's a cat on a
Yeah.
leash behind. So you'll have to search out for if there's any of those situations happening.
Right. It was actually funny the other day because he found this big rock, kind of, it was, you could see it if you're driving past on the road. So he's sleeping on the rock. I'm out there with him. And the looks that we were getting from people, they would slow down and kind of
Yeah.
double take and be like, is that really a cat out there?
I do like there are some times though it is funny where I feel like what you did was you sort of did it the right way, where you put the harness on in the house, he slowly worked his way out. We have some clients that will bring animals in sometimes, the cats, in on a harness that you can
Mhm.
obviously tell have never been in a
Right.
harness before. And the cats, panicking in a waiting room with dogs and all these
Yep.
other things going on. And so I think for all of those owners out there that hear this and go, oh my God, that sounds so cool. I'd love to take my cat on a harness. Work your way up to it, as far as bringing them out in public places, bringing them to the vet, because I think it can be really cool and a great enrichment tool for all of these animals. But just like anybody, right? You can't just throw them into something completely brand new like that. You got to kind of warm them up to it.
Right. And, owners know their cats better than anyone. So it really is dependent on, their personality and their temperament. And if you think that it would be a good fit for them, because like I said, some of my cats, it's hard pass for that. So
Yeah.
hard pass.
Yeah, taking it slow. I mean, that's the worst thing you could probably do if you want to train your cat to a harness is like put the harness on and take them to the scariest place they know. So
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, start slow. And if your cat's a little tentative, maybe on the porch is good because then they have a ceiling instead of the sky. It's very,
Yeah.
very big out there.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
cool alternative too. I have a cat backpack, so he
Mm.
sits him in
Oh
the
my
backpack,
gosh.
and there's the bubble on the back. So even that
Oh,
to kind of walk him outside to get used to that too would be a cool thing.
I love that. Whoever has not seen one of those, you have to Google the image. It is like the coolest thing. They look
yep.
like they're in like a little like scuba man like underwater thing because
Yep.
their head is in this little solid bubble basically that comes out. I think those are just the cutest.
Yes, they are.
A
That's
lot of
awesome.
those cats that come in those because we see more of those than
Yeah.
cats in harnesses probably, but like there's that one, and then I have this one owner that has brought her cat in this like little cat bag, which I've never been. This cat seems like super chill with it, but I've never been sure if it was like directly transferable to other cats or this is like a very specific cat. But when they come in these non-traditional things, those cats are usually a lot more relaxed, I think. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
I don't think they like the ones where you wheel them in suitcases. Like, have you ever seen those? Those are like noisy and they're
Yeah.
like
Or the
scared.
Yeah.
wagons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, there he is.
Hi, Starlord. There he is. Oh, our cats at the hospital love those little
Those
treats. Oh, look at him.
The
squeezies.
He's going
truth.
up,
There he goes. He's like,
up and
I'm
out. That's
done.
all he's, yeah, see,
Sorry,
he's
That's
too
busy
it.
cool.
guy.
He's too cool.
So we are out of time and wanted to thank Christina and Starlord for joining us. If you want to follow Starlord's adventures, follow Stuntman Starlord on Instagram.
Thank you to our sponsor, Ethos Veterinary Health. You can subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app or watch a video version on our Ethos Veterinary Health YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you for having
Bye.
me. Bye.
Bye.